For nearly 3 weeks, someone knew exactly where to find her. Not by chance, not by driving by a quiet home, but because they searched online weeks before Nancy Guthrie went missing. Google Trends data analyzed by investigators suggests that someone in Tucson may have looked up Nancy Guthrie's home address in the weeks leading up to January 31st, 2026.
At least one internet user appears to have searched for Nancy Guthrie's home address in the weeks leading up to her kidnapping.
During that same period, someone also searched for her daughter's salary.
Google Trends also showing that someone in the Tucson area searched, quote, Savannah Guthrie salary in December of last year.
Savannah Guthrie, the co-anchor of NBC's Today Show, is a familiar face to millions of Americans every morning. And on that night, digital curiosity turned into something far more sinister. Nancy Guthrie vanished from her secluded Arizona home. Her phone and medication were left behind. Blood was found on her front porch. Investigators' first question wasn't just who took her. It was how long had they been watching. The Catalina foothills, just north of Tucson, Arizona, is a neighborhood where homes are spaced far apart, and desert scrub fills the gaps between properties. Privacy isn't just preferred, it's expected. Nancy Ellen Guthrie had lived here for over 50 years. She moved with her family in the early 1970s, raised 3 children, and lost her husband Charles in 1988 during a mining expedition in Mexico. In the decades that followed, she built a quiet, independent life. At 84, Nancy was mentally sharp, drove herself to appointments, attended virtual church, and visited her children regularly. Savannah called from New York. Nancy wore a pacemaker and took daily medication but needed no constant supervision. She lived alone because she wanted to and could. On the evening of Saturday, January 31st, Nancy took an Uber to her daughter Annie's house at 5:32 p.m. They had dinner and played games. At 9:48 p.m., Annie's husband, Damaso Cioni, drove Nancy home. Her garage door opened and closed at 9:50 p.m. Everything seemed routine from the outside. But within the next 4 hours, something happened inside her home that would later be called a crime scene. By 2:28 a.m., Nancy's pacemaker had disconnected from her phone. She was no longer inside her house. The timeline was precise thanks to digital records. At 1:47 a.m., the Google Nest doorbell camera at her front door disconnected. Investigators initially thought the suspect had cut the power and removed it. At 2:12 a.m., motion was detected, but no video was recorded. Without a Nest-aware subscription, footage is stored for only 6 hours, which by the time the family realized she was missing, was long gone. Or so they thought. 10 days later, the FBI released footage previously thought unrecoverable. Clear images of a masked figure at Nancy's front door, wearing a ski mask and gloves, a holstered pistol visible, holding a flashlight in his mouth, and then covering the lens with nearby vegetation. FBI Director Kash Patel said the footage was recovered from residual data in Google's back-end systems. Experts explained that deleted footage isn't always gone immediately, permanently, or invisibly. For the Guthrie family, this was a breakthrough. For other Nest users, a chilling revelation about digital privacy. The footage allowed investigators to determine more details. The suspect was male, of average build, 5 feet 9 inches to 5 feet 10 inches tall, wearing a black 25-liter Ozark trail hiker pack sold exclusively at Walmart. Investigators requested purchase records and reviewed Walmart surveillance footage while canvassing neighborhoods within a 2-mile radius of Nancy's home for other video evidence. Another lead emerged 2 miles away, a glove matching the type seen in the footage. DNA was extracted, but yielded no match in the FBI's database and didn't match any DNA inside Nancy's home. Investigators now had multiple unknown profiles. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos announced they would pursue investigative genetic genealogy, a method that builds family trees using commercial DNA databases. This technique helped catch the Golden State Killer in 2018 and Brian Kohberger in 2022. Unlike those cases, investigators in Nancy's case didn't even know if she was alive. When her family called 911 on February 1st at 12:03 p.m., they had gone to check after she missed virtual church. Nancy was nowhere to be found. Deputies arrived at 12:15 p.m., and within hours, the case shifted from missing person to criminal investigation. Blood confirmed to be Nancy's was found on the porch, and forced entry signs were discovered. Her phone, medication, and personal belongings remained untouched. Nancy did not leave voluntarily. She was taken. Within 48 hours, investigators received messages claiming responsibility. News outlets, including Tucson TV stations, reported ransom notes demanding millions in Bitcoin, referencing details about Nancy's home and clothing that weren't public. The first deadline was 5 p.m. on Thursday, February 5th. Pay $4 million or it would rise to $6 million by Monday. Savannah and her siblings responded publicly, pleading for her return, but received no reply. No proof of life was ever sent. One alleged ransom demand was later revealed to be a hoax. Derek Kella was arrested for sending a fake ransom message but had no connection to the abduction. The real kidnapper, if there was one, remained silent. The FBI was involved from February 2nd, but local authorities reportedly limited their access to evidence. Tensions between federal and local agencies escalated, with criticism over the handling of DNA samples for genetic genealogy. Sheriff Nanos defended his team, citing speed over politics. By the third week, over 40,000 tips had poured in. 400 personnel were deployed daily. Helicopters scanned the desert for pacemaker signals. Divers checked septic tanks. Investigators canvassed gas stations, reviewed purchases, and conducted door-to-door interviews. Yet there was no arrest, no suspect, and no Nancy. Google Trends analysis revealed that searches for Nancy's address began as early as March 2025, nearly a year before her disappearance. Searches for Savannah's salary appeared between December 13 to 20, 2025, just 6 weeks before the abduction. This wasn't a crime of opportunity. It was premeditated. Whoever took Nancy may have spent months studying her routines, her home, and her daughter's earnings. Investigators also requested surveillance footage from January 11, 2026, 3 weeks prior to the abduction, and from the morning of January 31st. Why the morning footage if she was taken at night? Had someone scouted the property beforehand? Authorities declined to explain. The Guthrie family continued public appeals. Savannah flew to Arizona, stepping away from the Olympics coverage she was scheduled to co-host. She and her siblings made emotional appeals to the kidnapper. Cameron Guthrie also addressed the unknown abductor directly, urging them to respond. Silence remained. Sheriff Nanos maintained that Nancy was alive and insisted the case was far from cold. The case highlighted broader concerns about vulnerability, surveillance, and digital footprints. Nancy was private, with no public profile beyond her famous daughter. Yet that connection may have made her a target. Someone searched her address. Someone searched her daughter's income. Someone came to her door masked and armed, knowing exactly what they were doing. The FBI increased the reward to $100,000, with an additional $100,000 offered by a Wisconsin attorney through Crime Stoppers. Investigators are pursuing genetic genealogy, analyzing unknown DNA profiles, tracking backpack purchases at Walmart, and collecting neighborhood footage. Yet, Nancy Guthrie remains missing. Her condition and whereabouts are unknown. The masked figure in the footage has not been identified. The yellow ribbons remain tied outside her home. Flowers and candles line the sidewalk. Neighbors describe the scene as surreal and disturbing. One resident said they don't know who the kidnapper is or what they have done. The evidence suggests planning. The execution suggests experience. The silence suggests someone who knows exactly what they are doing. If you have any information, call 1-800-CFBI or submit a tip at tips.fbi.gov. You can also contact the Puma County Sheriff's Department. Nancy Guthrie's family is still waiting. This case serves as a chilling reminder of the digital traces we leave behind and the importance of home security. The search isn't over, and the truth is still out there.